Hey guys, Ashlane here coming at you today sharing a new deck that I talked about in my most recent episode comparing chest values, and here it is. It's a heavy Arena 6 deck. Now what do I consider heavy? Well, essentially anything where the average elixir cost in the deck is over 4, it gets a little bit expensive, aka heavy. So that's why I call it the heavy deck here. Every single card is either worth 4 or 5 elixir in this deck. That's why the Elixir Collector is pivotal, therefore making it an Arena 6 deck instead of an Arena 5 deck. So the Valkyrie is obviously a great splash damage ground unit, Musketeer a great point damage ground unit. The free spell is going to be used in combination with the Hogs, Baby Dragon, and Barbarians mostly. Of course, the other cards can benefit from it as well. You have the Elixir Collector. Obviously, it's going to keep this deck running. Hopefully, the Elixir Collector will be in your opening hand, and then you'll want to use it right away. Well, at least when your Elixir builds up to 10. Baby Dragon is awesome. Splash damage from the air. Pretty hard to counter unless you have a minion horde or something handy. Also, you have the Barbarians, but let's just go in order here. Hog Rider is going to be obviously one of your strongest offensive combos in the deck. The Poison spell has great synergy in this deck for whatever reason. I tried out arrows. I tried out a fireball, and the poison just works out great. So if you don't have poison yet, or for whatever reason you want to switch back to arrows or fireball, that's fine too. Obviously, fireball can do well against 3 Musketeers and against Barbarians. Personally, I would prefer arrows or poison. I have been playing with arrows as well, and been having success with either combination here. This is my battle log here. Let's just go over my most recent replay here. I'll show you this deck in action. Now, this is one of those decks, unlike the Hog Cycle deck, which I absolutely love. Done a couple of episodes on that recently. This deck is a little bit different. Hog Cycle, I would say, is easy to learn, tough to master. This deck, I would say, is reverse. It's pretty tough to learn, and then gets a little bit easier to master once you get the combos going. Now, this is a deck, because it's so expensive, you have to play incredibly carefully. This deck is all about turning defense into offense. It's not one of those decks that you can be really, gangbusters out the gate and totally be super aggressive. You want to defend first and then turn those defenses into offensive combos. Now you can see this is going to be probably the fastest 3-crown victory I've personally ever had. I don't have to do any more offense here. This push in the right lane, if I remember correctly, is going to turn into a 3-crown victory, and indeed it does. I play another Musketeer at this point, and now I have the Baby Dragon, the 2 Musketeers. I'm going to drop a Hog in just a second here, and then do I have my free spell? No, I don't, so I don't even need the free spell. One hit off the Hog is going to take down that King Tower, and it's going to be as easy as that. Well played, and it was a pretty good match on my end. So let's go ahead and look through my battle log here. You can see I have 3 wins, 4 wins. Let's see, 4 wins in a row. Then we have a defeat there against a Cycle deck. Let's see, he has a Cycle deck with a lightning spell in it I lost to. It might be valuable to bring you guys some of the losses too on these decks, but let me know in the comments below if that's something you find interesting. I'd rather kind of, not because I'm ashamed of losing, but I'd rather highlight, I think, the wins as opposed to the losses when just describing the utility and the application of the deck. So that was the deck he beat me with. Other than that, it's a pretty good row. A lot of victories here. You can see I'm going against different types of deck. We'll cover some of these replays today. Let's see a lot of victories. I must have won and I lost over here, and that's when I started using the deck. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to House Targaryen. He's the one who showed me this deck, and I lost my very first match with it, as you can see there, and then I won a bunch. I only lost 1 from there on out. So the thing about this deck is, and the reason I lost that first match, is you really need to play behind your King Tower and play very passively and try to get a really long push going, an expensive push going. That's where you're going to have more success with this deck, rather than, you can sneak a Hog in here and there, but just having the Hog freeze doesn't work as well in this deck because it leaves yourself very susceptible to having to defend after you use the Hog freeze. We don't have any goblins, any skeletons, any minions, anything cheaper than 4 before, we do not have it in this deck. That's why defending can be challenging at times. That's why you don't want to do those quick hog pushes with this deck. Rather, you want to use your hog sometimes after the rest of the troops are down on the board. So essentially you're using like a Barbarian, a Baby Dragon, maybe a Musketeer, and then you sneak the hog in there and try to land a freeze. That's why you're going to be starting your pushes with this deck from behind your King Tower, and then you can add troops as you recoup Elixir from there. Now obviously that works better when you have the Elixir Collector on the map already. So he's using Goblin Barrels against me here. Goblin Barrels, because we don't have the arrows in this deck, Goblin Barrels and Minion Horde can present a challenge. Obviously the Baby Dragon can counter, and if you have the if you have some time, if you have a little bit of time on your to react, I should say, you can use the poison spell as well. Now here I was able to get the hog and the Baby Dragon to that tower, and you can see the skeleton army. I was just a little bit early there on that freeze spell. Sometimes freeze spell is awesome, and sometimes you can just drop it too early because you have your eye on the hog's health, and at the same time your opponent does too, and he's waiting for the perfect time. He wants you to react first. So I'm thinking about maybe adding the zap spell instead of the freeze spell. That way I would have a cheap card for defense too if I need to buy a little bit of extra time. Now at this point, the opponent here with a minute left, I don't know what he's doing. I thought he was just trolling, and I think he is, but he's just rocketing and goblin barreling my King Tower over and over and over again. So after I took down that first tower, I think he kind of gave up there, so we'll go ahead and assume he did so. And let's go ahead and show another replay. Again, something a little bit different there in this next one here. Let's see. No, well, there's a mortar deck, but he was only a level 9, if I remember correctly. I'd rather show replays of people who are my level, but if we choose the wrong one, then it's not the end of the world, I guess. Maybe this balloon deck we can do. Or the golem deck. I don't know. Balloon or golem. Let's do the balloon deck here. So he's level 9 too, so I guess it was all for naught. But he recognized me. Sometimes if you guys ever see me in game and you recognize the name from the channel, feel free to drop a few wows, I guess, and then and feel free to heckle me if you beat me too. I don't mind a little banter here and there. So anyway, this guy says wow wow, and we are off into the match here. He uses poison spell. Not sure if I would have used the poison spell against those barbarians there, even though he does encompass one of my towers as well. For the poison spell, you want to make sure you're hitting either a mass of troops, because that's what the poison spell is really great against. But if you're going to use it against a tower, you want to make sure you're hitting 3 targets. So and individual barbarians don't count. So essentially, you want to be playing the poison against, for example, a hut or an elixir collector and the tower and a troop. So you want to really be getting 3, kind of like treat it like a lightning spell in a sense. Or you can obviously use it to stop a spawner deck. I mean, there's a lot of utility, but if you're going to use it randomly like he did there to start off the match, I would personally go ahead and hold that back. So he's coming at me with a balloon here, so I wasn't expecting the balloon. So I know he has the freeze spell, or I figure he has the freeze spell as well, and indeed he does, so I'm going to have to counter with my freeze spell. If somebody gets you with a combo like this, with a balloon and a freeze, and you have a freeze, don't be afraid to use it defensively. Otherwise, my tower would be down right now. So that's a good. That is a perfect poison spell that he just used there. He did it against my tower, against my elixir pump, and against my musketeer. So that was a good usage of a poison spell. Now I accidentally dropped those barbarians. I don't know how you accidentally drop barbarians. I think I wanted to sneak a hog in there real quick because I knew he just exhausted a lot of elixir on offense, but I don't know what the heck I did there. But I said oops, and then I drop a Valkyrie. Valkyries are obviously really great on defense. A Valkyrie can take out barbarians. She can obviously take out tons of skeleton army or any type of mass troops. So Valkyries are great on defense. And then she only costs 4, and she can take down, like I said, barbarians, which cost 5. A great value trade there, and she stays alive. So I'll take that any day. Again, a balloon coming at me. I'm ready for the freeze spell. So I put my, again, a nice poison spell by him there. But I had the freeze ready. And again, I'm going to go ahead and freeze that balloon defensively. At this point, you can see nothing's going on too crazy right now on my end. I haven't done a lot of damage. It's tough to get by those cannons. Cannons are such a pesky, annoying card. I mean, absolutely love the utility. I love them. I'm not complaining about them. But man, they're a pain to go up against because they're just so distracting. distracting when placed in that perfect kill zone location there in the center of the map. So now I'm ready with the freeze spell. I want to try to eat into that tower a little bit, and then he counters my freeze spell, of course, with a freeze spell. I placed the hog in the totally wrong spot there. I should have placed the hog directly across from the Inferno Tower across the river, and for whatever reason, I acted like it was going to go to the tower there. So now we're in overtime, dropping Barbarians. This is what I mean earlier by this long push here. So I had the Barbarians down, I have the Baby Dragon down, I'm at full elixir because I had 2 elixir pumps. Now, I mentioned this early in the episode, but it's very important to keep in mind here that you want to get as many elixir pumps down as possible. If you have the elixir card, consider using it. Just be very careful, right? Because when you use the Elixir Collector card in this deck, you have to be ready for them to come at you offensively, and you have to have elixir left to be able to defend. So only use the Elixir Collector if you're full on elixir or at 9, and then when you do use it, make sure that you have something defensively handy that you can play to defend on your end of the map. So guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. Again, we'll take a look at the deck. Remember, don't get frustrated if you lose right away with this deck. It takes a little bit of time to get a feel for, but I'm interested to see how it does for you guys. Let me know in the comments below. And again, shout out to House Targaryen for sharing this deck with me. He's been having a lot of success with it as well. Let's see if he's using it right now. Oh no, it's a mortar deck. Okay, pretend you didn't see that. Pretend you didn't see that. Nothing to see here, guys. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me today, guys. Taking a little bit out of your day to hang out with me means a lot. Thank you so much, and as always, take care.
We don't play for fame, we don't play for cash. We just play for the glory and the crash of the ash.